Electrical Trades Union, meantime, has blamed Sydney's ongoing blackouts on a shortage of power workers. Nearly 50,000 homes are still without power after the weekend's wild storms. The ETU says 5,000 jobs have been cut since 2015, and as a result of the New South Wales government's privatisation agenda, cuts imposed by Australian energy regulators. Joining me now is the Secretary of the Union, Justin Page. Justin, thank you for your time. So the length of time it's taking to get back power to some still 50,000 homes, do you think that's because of job cuts?
Absolutely. It's a direct result of being 5,000 less workers in this industry in New South Wales to actually restore power in weather events like this that continue to happen.
Ausgrid seems to suggest that this is not because of a lack of workers, it's in fact because the damage is so bad, even calling in the Army today to clear some of that debris.
Ausgrid in itself has lost 2,000 workers in the last 5 years, and more importantly so, they're actually looking to cut another 500 in the next couple of years. So people are going to expect to be without power even longer than they currently are experiencing.
But in storms like this, it's not so much the expertise of electricians that's required, is it? It's the expertise of people like the SES and the Army to clear those trees and that debris so the electricians can actually do their work. So who are you suggesting needs to be employed? More electricians or more people to do the grunt work?
No, well, the industry used to cater for all of this. They used to cater for tree trimming and clearing, and also in storm events. So they've lost capacity right across the board in skilled labour, and vegetation control has all been lost.
Okay, so how many people were employed and have been let go in the last 5 years when it comes to vegetation control?
I don't have those figures offhand, but it's the AER significantly reduced these distributors' budgets in terms of vegetation control. So they've lost that capacity that they did have 5 years ago, has definitely been decreased significantly.
Do you accept that these are unusual events? They are becoming more common, but they don't happen every day, they don't happen every weekend, so you're always going to need that extra capacity when you see storm events like we did on the weekend.
Yeah, we've been warning for the last two Australian Energy Regulator determinations that they need to have the capacity for events like this, and unfortunately it keeps happening. If you look at the fires have been going for over 6 months. We had the mini cyclone go through the North Shore of Sydney in December, and now we've had another weather event in February. These are occurring more and more often, and as we keep warning, the distributors need to have the capacity to actually deal with this, and they currently don't.
Should they just have the capacity to be able to call in an emergency workforce, if you like?
Oh, I don't know how that would function. What do they do in the meantime? I mean, you know, they're saying they're calling in the Army. They've lost an army of workers. They've lost 5,000 workers in this industry over the last 5 years.
A lot of this damage seems to be quite extensive. With more workers, why do you suggest this could have been done quickly? Can more workers actually fix the damage more quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, they had the internal capacity to deal with this before. They also had the capacity to share labour between the distributors. Because they've all been cut, they don't have that capacity. They're actually bringing in labour from Queensland and South Australia and other states, so they're currently bringing in about 200 additional workers. But if you look at if this weather event happened, you know, in 2015, we had the major weather event in Newcastle where they had the capacity to call in workers a lot quicker and their trucks and their resources to get this work done. They just don't have that capacity anymore to do that. Hence, while this is unprecedented, they're trying to call in the Army. The Army can't put up power lines. The Army can only help clean the trees around.
But that's the biggest problem, isn't it? What's wrong with that?
Sorry, what's wrong with?
So the debris seems to be the biggest problem and the biggest impediment at this point. Do you have a problem with calling in the Army to do that?
No, we're not saying they have a problem calling an Army to help out, but what we're saying is people have got to recognise, and the federal government and the state government have got to recognise they've trimmed these distributors too far. They're looking to shed another 1,500 workers in the next 3 years. They can't continue to do this. The public have a right to be outraged that they pay skyrocketed power prices, and their reliability and the length of time they're out without power is increasing. So we have no problem calling the army now, but the governments need to understand that the regulatory framework that they're currently working in is broken. It's flawed, and we can't lose another 1,500 workers in this industry, or people are going to be without power for months.
OK, we'll put it to both state and federal government. Justin Page, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.